We're all here to talk about the future of the Twin Cities, and about the decisions that everyone in this room and everyone in this community is going to have to make in the coming years if this community is going to continue to thrive. You have in your midst a very vulnerable community. And if you read the Council on Crime and Justice's report, you will learn all kinds of very important facts about that vulnerable community. That over the next 25 years, that community is going to grow much faster than the white population of this area. Right? Today, the 7-county population of minorities is about 17%. In 25 years, it'll be 30%. In the same period, the white community in this area is going to grow much older, but the minority population will not. Right? The percentage of adult males between 18 and 30, which in terms of the criminal justice system is the critical age cohort, that group is going to double in size over the next 25 years. And the prognosis for those groups, if present trends continue, is not encouraging. Right? If you look at the projected rate of African American arrests in this community over the next 25 years, it's going to go from 45,000 to 93,000 a year. Right? If you look at the projected adult imprisonment rate in this community, if you look at the chart, the curve is like that. It's like a ski slope. But that is the reality that is facing this community over the next 25 years. And the question that faces all of you is, what is your attitude going to be towards those people on the outside and at the bottom? Are you going to take responsibility for providing opportunity for them, or are you not? Now, I know that many of you tomorrow will be at the conference and you'll be discussing in much more detail what some of the recommendations of the Council on Justice report are going to be. I'm just going to touch on them briefly now. The first is that there is an urgent need to expand educational opportunities for the disadvantaged groups. That the surest way to break this cycle of criminality and poverty and drug use is to provide people with the educational tools to make a future for themselves. The second thing is that there has to be a much strengthened system of drug treatment and mental health care treatment. This community has to find a much better way of allowing people who come out of the criminal justice system to be reintegrated into the economy of this community. There's got to be a much greater emphasis on rehabilitating people, not just punishing them. Now, taken together, all of those recommendations are extremely ambitious. Right? They represent really a sea change in our attitude towards those who commit crimes. Instead of thinking entirely in terms of punishing them, what those recommendations suggest is we need to also start thinking in terms of how to help them and how to reintegrate them into our community. And so the big question is, I think, for all of you, is how you get there. How do you make sure that such an ambitious but absolutely necessary plan of action actually takes shape in the years to come? Well, I think that is your first challenge. You are going to go to the citizens of this community and lay out a kind of agenda that is necessary to deal with this growing and emerging threat to the vitality of this community. And I can guarantee the first reaction of most people will be defeatism. They'll say, if the problem is as serious as you say it is, how on earth are we going to do anything about it? Right? They're going to say, this is about families and individuals and choices. What possible role can any kind of state organizations or private sector organizations play? They're going to say, oh, I've heard all those recommendations before, but they've never worked in the past. What makes you think they're going to work now? And I think your first task when confronted by that kind of attitude is to say, no, that's not the way change works. That when we look at examples of transformational change in history, we see that it is possible to bring about fundamental revolutions in the way that communities live and work and human beings live and work in a much shorter time than we would ever have imagined.